The past few months have been challenging for international shoppers due to confusion surrounding current, new and planned import duties and VAT rates. SARS announced that starting July 1, 2024, all parcels containing clothing valued at less than 500 Rand will be subject to a 45% import duty and 15% VAT. This is particularly bad news for shoppers of TEMU and SHEIN. Welcome to the Riandro Show. Please do support my channel by subscribing, liking and sharing this video. Let's delve into the story and try to find out what's going on. Earlier this year, various media outlets reported that SARS decided to implement a 45% import duty plus 15% VAT on all parcels containing clothing. Previously, this import duty and VAT only applied to parcels valued over 500 Rand. However, it was alleged that TEMU and SHEIN exploited a loophole by splitting parcels worth more than 500 Rand into multiple parcels valued under 500 Rand to avoid these additional costs. As a result, they only paid a flat rate of 20% import duty on the declared value of the parcels, which were often undervalued to benefit the buyer. To address the loophole, SARS planned to implement new regulations on July 1, 2024. However, this led to widespread confusion. Some poorly written media articles caused buyers to believe that all parcels under 500 Rand would be subject to the new tax, not just clothing, even though it was just a minor change to an existing regulation. Other articles misled buyers into thinking that only clothing parcels under 500 Rand would be affected and that purchasing items over 500 Rand would be cheaper. There was also uncertainty about whether the new regulations would apply only to orders placed after July 1, or if parcels ordered close to the deadline but arriving after July 1 would also incur the additional charges. Unfortunately, after July 1, the confusion worsened. Some buyers reported paying import duties as low as 10%, while others were shocked to pay nearly 80% in total import duty and VAT combined. Some buyers noticed no significant change and continued purchasing, while others vowed never to order from TEMU and SHEIN again. By August, it became evident that the new regulations were either being completely ignored or inconsistently applied to some parcels. In early August, the South African International E-Commerce Association, SAIEA, announced that SARS had confirmed a delay in implementing the new duty. SARS emphasized that there was a need for further stakeholder engagement before enforcing the 45% tariff on imported clothing products. It seems that what the media had been reporting and what was actually happening seemed to be different things, and that there is much more happening in the background than we know of. Retailers and textile industry workers previously accused the companies of exploiting a tax loophole to undercut South African businesses. This is now TEMU and SHEIN. This was incorrectly referred to as a de minimis rule that enabled TEMU and SHEIN to pay a flat rate of 20% tax on parcels valued less than 500 Rand, instead of paying the full customs duty plus VAT. An industry source with over 3 decades of experience in trade logistics and customs, currently working for a prominent international transport and logistics company, told My Broadband that this wasn't a de minimis. Instead, the two China Africa importers and their local logistics partners benefited from a 2007 concession list published by the South African Revenue Service. One of the concessions allowed couriers to pay a 20% flat rate once a month for high value but low volume consolidated shipments coming through OR Tambo Airport in Johannesburg. The experts said that the clearance is processed on a DA306 form rather than a formal customs declaration, which is the SAD 500. They explained that this concession was created for the bulk courier businesses in the past, and that the volume of imports TEMU and SHEIN would create was unforeseen. Although there was no legal provision for the 20% duty as per the concession, it effectively became legislation, allowing TEMU and SHEIN's logistics partners to pay minimal import taxes. But the uncertainty remains. Is the charge SARS wanted to implement temporarily halted, or will it be implemented at a later date? Yesterday, August 8, 2024, SARS released a media statement announcing changes to the customs import system. I would like to quote the following from this media release before I tell you what is planned. SARS Commissioner Edward Kieswetter said SARS will partner with the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition, the DTIC, as the custodian of the country's trade policy and development, as well as other industry players, to build public trust by seeking opportunities to level the playing field to protect local industries and create business opportunities for economic growth. He said that SARS will resort to the greater use of data, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and algorithms to better facilitate trade while minimizing risks to the economy. Here is the good news for some. SARS have decided to follow guidelines set by the World Customs Organization, or WCO. If you are a regular buyer or importer that uses TEMU or SHEIN, this is important to know and understand, as it explains why the duties and tax changes that will be implemented before the end of the year are considered fair and reasonable as a world standard. In the early 1990s, the global shipment of small, low-value goods by courier and express mail was growing rapidly. To manage this, the World Customs Organization created the WCO Guidelines on Immediate Release. These guidelines help standardize how e-commerce goods are processed by requiring operators to provide information to customs before the goods arrive and categorizing them into 4 groups. Here are the 4 categories. Please do pause the video if you wish to read the information, but let's continue. According to the SARS statement, the following will be implemented: the introduction of VAT in addition to the current 20% flat rate customs duty by 1 September 2024 as an immediate interim measure. The reconfiguration of the current 20% flat rate into the WCO regime for the first 3 broadband categories with appropriate duty rates by 1 November 2024. What will this reconfiguration entail? For items in categories 1 and 2, the no duties or taxes policy will be welcomed by many, but it depends on the below a certain value threshold, which hasn't been decided yet. If this threshold is higher than the current 500 Rand value, it will be a bonus for some. For now, it seems things will continue as before, with inconsistent values applied to parcels until the new changes take effect on September 1. Hopefully customs officials will be well informed by these changes, as the previous attempt to implement them on July 1 was quite problematic. What are your thoughts? I would love to see what you think as a TEMU or SHEIN shopper or importer, so please do comment. Please do remember to subscribe, as I have a few more stories I would like to tell. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.